crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. I'm your host, DZ, where we teach you how to make money in crypto every single day. I am joined today on this Good Friday with TJ and Josh. Fellas, how are you doing on this holiday weekend?
Feels good. Happy Friday. Good Friday. Well, maybe not happy for Friday. Everybody, but
is it Easter?
Not Friday, but on Monday. Yeah, it's Easter Sunday this weekend, and Monday Easter to Good Friday. But feels good. Seeing prices do absolutely nothing. So.
Yeah, and I'll feel good when the fans start hitting the like button. Disco fam, if you want to go ahead and jump in now. Josh is at the home layer. Josh, you want to give people some Josh lore here? What takes you home?
Oh yeah, I was in a call at 10 o'clock today, so couldn't make it back to the studio before the show started because I'll be in Dubai next week. So we are planning out all the Dubai trips, and getting that all situated, all the tickets and everything done there. We got about, I can't even tell how many events we're going to. I mean, there's Token 2049 obviously, but at Token 2049, there's usually about a dozen or two side events, and so we're going to be meeting with a ton of the big VCs out there, some of the financial ministry officials out there, and trying to just get better access points to give you guys the best possible content. So that's going to be
on
all
this
on
trip.
Discover Crypto.
Are you going to bring a snorkel and flippers?
No, I'm going to bring just my attitude, DZ. I have no idea what I'm going to bring out there. I'm going to bring our A game and just try to get all the alpha. It's alpha season, right? That is what we're looking for right now. Bitcoin's been trading sideways for what it feels like years. Some people are saying it's, I think it's only been a week here, but hopefully we can get some really good news out there.
Well, we'll look at the Bitcoin chart here. I have on the 3-minute candles, and Bitcoin has just been feeling a lot of pain here. You can see it has dropped, I would say, a little only around $1,000 over the last 20 hours. So not as far as like drops go. Could be a lot worse, but we do want to see some positive price action as we zoom in on the 1 minute. Looks like maybe Bitcoin just doing that patented 10:30 a.m. things like the pump. I don't know why it does. Now, just for clarification, folks, those who are not aware, last time Josh went to a crypto conference in Dubai, it was about a year ago, and the UAE government cloud seeded, and it ended up raining too hard. And that's a verifiable fact that they cloud seeded, correct?
Yep.
I mean, their minister came out and said it.
Yeah, they're straight up creating artificial clouds to cause it to rain. So this was the first time I went to Dubai. I went in December and it was perfectly fine. But about a year before that, we went out there and watched straight up a massive flood take place. Like it was probably anywhere from 4 to 6 feet in some areas. You saw like Mercedes-Benz literally drifting down the highway. And it literally was like the apocalypse. Now, what was cool, though, was that since there was nobody in Dubai, the luxury cars were like $200 a day to rent. So we were driving like some of the coolest cars I've ever had the opportunity to drive backwards on the highway in like a zombie apocalyptic like era in the middle of the Middle East. So there was its pluses to it. However, about half the conferences shut down. And unfortunately, it was a crazy experience. It was a crazy experience to be in. Yeah,
I think you get a Lamborghini, you're saying for 200, but then if you wanted this boat right here, man, that was costing you 700. It was a crazy time there when you're walking around Dubai. But folks, let's get into the crypto market. We got Bitcoin is heading down. If you do want to get a trade, folks, I do recommend we still have our contest, and our contest is live for 15 more days. If you want to trade on LBank, we are giving $6,000 exclusive for the Discover Crypto users out there. First place is going to be 3K, second place 2K, and then third place is going to be 1K out there. So go ahead, get your trades in.
Yeah, I did want to mention on that. I just, while you guys were talking, opened a trade on LBank too. So there's those $6,000 worth of rewards, but obviously you can see at the top it says 13K. Even if you're not one of the top 1, 2, or it says 13 right there. Even if you're not 1, 2, or 3 in volume, keep scroll. If you scroll down a little bit lower on that page for me, DZ, keep going, and it shows the volume. Yeah, keep going all the way down, right there. Yeah, so it doesn't take much at all to earn those cashback rewards. I mean, it's very easy to do $1 million in volume just by yourself, and that unlocks $300. So if you haven't made an account yet, there's kind of a couple things you have to do. The link for this contest is in our description on this video. But you have to sign up as an affiliate under Discover and then enter the contest. So after you've signed up under us, you have to click that. It says go to the very top there. It says trade for you because you've already done it, but
It would say register otherwise.
Exactly. So you guys got to make sure you click that button to be entered in the contest. Right now, DZ's in first place, and we can't let DZ win the money. That's no good.
Did I just long fart coin? I just longed fart coin. You can see we got our entry. I just did it right before we went live. I will I will crawl in and out like a roach on this trade. So, we'll be watching that trade as we go along in the video today. But and if we leave it open, we'll talk about the trade in the member stream afterwards. Let's look at CoinGecko, just kind of look at the prices here. It looks like Bitcoin getting a little bit of that 10:30 a.m. bounce. Bitcoin is flat for the hour, was pretty red, slightly green for the 24-hour here. ETH is up 1.2%. Solana still in the green despite having a pretty significant pump yesterday. Dogecoin is up. Tron is down. Cardano, folks, we're going to talk about Cardano's founder and how he's gone native. Some say he has lost it in the jungle. We have some insane photos. Josh, do you know what I'm talking about with Charles Hoskinson and being in, I think, the Amazonia?
I almost tagged you in it. I was worried that there might be some ayahuasca involved with this. So
there probably is.
I don't know how this integrates utility to Cardano, but yeah, he's weaving the ants. Weaving the ants,
folks. You're going to need to stick around for that. It is a wild story here.
It's insane.
Chainlink is up 2.5%, and Shiba Inu with a little pump here, 3.6. And I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin Cash, but one of the biggest gainers for the week, it is now up 12%. When we look at the biggest gainers, Tau is crushing it, and I want to give a big shout out to BitLab and Kelly. Kelly called the Tau pump. I think he got extra Tau yesterday. He is well up today, so good job, Kelly. Shout out to the Flare community. Flare's up 12.8%. And a coin I haven't talked about or seen or anything, and I've been out of this token for a long time, Fetch is up. ASI is up about 10%. And IMX, we're covering the IMX news, and it seems like the market finally digesting the good news when it comes to Immutable, and we're starting to see a little bit of a pump here. Jupiter also in the green, and Polygon and Filecoin with some good pumps there. But looking at the big losers, Mantle, Quant, Tron, and Curve leading the way, but nothing too significant on this, largely flat day. Mantle looking kind of flat here at 4.8%. But we're fixing to talk about, where things are heading, where things are going in the short term. But this might be you if you're not in the right tokens. We're trying to tell you what tokens to get in and out of. This is me when my portfolio gets back to entry. We did not talk about the astronauts. I don't even know if we should, but I thought this was a funny meme.
That's actually me kissing the floor of Bitcoin's price.
Yeah, no, that's a
double bottom.
It's a double bottom.
That's Ethereum holders when we get back to 4K right there. That we don't even want we don't even want all-time highs at this point. Just get us back to 4K.
Listen, guys, we're not in a bear market. We're creating a bear market. It's about unity.
Yeah. Now, speaking of unity, the nation is united on whether or not the whole thing was fake. A lot of people seem to think it wasn't real. I will just say this. I think they went where they said they're going. They didn't have insane reentry. But did you see they opened the door and then they allowed Jeff Bezos to open the door? They close it real quickly. That was weird.
I mean, I'm sure they did that take 5 times. I think they obviously definitely they did the ride it was. But what's funny is they're trying to act like they're astronauts and they're not. They went on a space ride. And these are going to be available to a retail. Yeah, exactly. It was an 11-minute ride. Nothing crazy. It was a big move. To get, don't get me wrong, it takes some balls to go up to space like that. But at the same time, you're not an astronaut. You're flown by astronauts. It's not like they did years of training and
it's not like they wore a diaper and drove across the nation to get their ex-lover.
And it was definitely nice little photo op. And then I love how they made it about unity. And I was like, it's an all-girls trip.
Where's the unity? Yeah.
It's like, so, whatever. Let them have their fun. That is rich people having their fun. I'm sure it costs about $500,000 a ticket. I have no idea. Maybe even more.
All right. Well, they didn't go space isn't real. Maybe the Earth's flat, but I tell you what's not flat is
my bad, guys. Yeah, I forgot
Bitcoin's price. That is anything but flat. We got Bitcoin 90K target here as China M2 money supply surges, and we got some graphics for you as well. The M2 money supply in China hit a record high fueling expectations that Bitcoin could surge to 90K if liquidity also continues to rise. Will Bitcoin follow as the M2 supply rises here? So they have now reached $326 trillion, steadily surging to new record highs. But I want to say that happens almost every single day. When you look at the Chinese money supply, even in America, we had that dip around 22 as we, pulled some of that excess COVID cash out of the system. Looks like China did not get that memo. They're just printing and printing and printing. A rise in M2 signals greater liquidity in the financial system, suggesting more money is often seeking returns in riskier assets like Bitcoin and altcoins. Data shows that the global M2 is also rising, a trend similar to the China M2 money supply. I have that graphic right here. This is global supply here, is crypto currently here. Can't stop looking at this chart. We really have a full breakout on global liquidity index, first time in over 3 years, and Bitcoin's consolidated future sure looks bright. And you can see the breakout right here. The white line is global liquidity, beat up against it, and now we're kind of breaking out into potential new all-time highs here for money in the system.
Yeah, this is something we've also been showing Colin Talks Crypto. I swear he used to be called Colin Talks Macro, but maybe I just got him in my head wrong. But this image here, he's been showing a lot, and we've shared it on this channel as well. He does a very good job kind of breaking this all down. This breakout here is the same one DZ was just showing, the M2 just going absolutely parabolic, and he's tracked it generally. Bitcoin lags on average 108 days behind it, so it's looking like May should be the blast off period where this orange line here is Bitcoin that's lagging behind this. So it's looking extremely bullish all the way across the board. We know the European Central Bank cut rates the other day. Like I keep saying, who cuts last wins, and that's really the battle we're in, is put so much economic pressure on other parts of the world that they have to start slashing their interest rates and easing their economies first. We will absolutely do it ourselves, but we're going to do it last, and that's kind of the advantage of being the reserve currency.
We got Mikhail here saying M2 not important. M1 is what matters as the U.S. supply. Crypto isn't legal in China. Do you think Chinese money entering the system affects the crypto market?
That's
Absolutely.
also wrong. Hong Kong's opened up and been legalizing for a long time, and Beijing's now loosening their rulings as well. But in terms of he's right in the sense that the U.S. money printer does matter the most, but that's where the cuts are going to come into play. But M2 still matters. Like Bitcoin's not centralized to the United States. There's millions and millions of users globally. So either way, it's still a positive impact on usually risk on assets associated in whether it's Southeast Asia, Western Europe, etc. So it's only a matter of time. I think it's what everybody's waiting for is the rate cuts from Jerome Powell. Obviously, you see Donald Trump's insanely bad at him, being like, "I'm going to fire you." But whether or not that actually happens, we're getting we're hopefully going to see the interest rate cuts in June. But again, I want to say China is opening up heavily to crypto.
He thought he was on The Apprentice, talking to Dennis Rodman and Brett Michaels or something. But no, we're going to get into the details. Can Trump fire Powell? Powell versus Trump. We got that in a second here. But a lot of people are looking at these targets and they're debating, is this attainable amid these macroeconomic jitters that we're starting to see in the market as we speak? Indeed, there remains concerns about Trump's tariff chaos and China's retaliatory stance. Amid these uncertainties, investors may delay allocating capital to highly volatile assets until trade tensions stabilize. We don't know when they're going to stabilize. Also, on the macro context, we got the hawkish Fed stance from Jerome Powell, which rolled out any imminent rate cuts. We're going to talk about Powell in a second. Now, do we think, is it attainable? I would say 90K, very, very attainable. But to TJ's, graphic he was showing earlier, that's a 108-day lag. We also have heard 84-day lags. We've heard 88-day lags, heard 111-day lags. And so if it's a 108-day lag, hey man, it might be happening imminently, 88 compared to 84 compared to 111. So just be careful, expecting, Bitcoin must pump this week. Maybe it takes 4 weeks. But I think once you zoom out, Bitcoin, is kind of only heading in one direction for the rest of 2025.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because it's really kind of like I talk about. It's important to get near tops and near bottoms. This is pretty similar as well. We may start seeing good movement up in late May, maybe June. It might be July. Could potentially be as late as August. But all signs, whether it's regulatory, whether it's macro, whether it's money printing, whether it's TA, all sorts of signs are pointing at it being a very bullish summer. So just prepare yourself now. Take advantage of you've had weeks now to be getting prices, some below 80K, a lot in the 80K. But I believe by the end of this summer, that won't be an opportunity anymore. We'll be back in around 100K, 90K target, 100K, 110, maybe looking for new all-time highs in Q3 and Q4. So that's what's important to keep in mind. That most likely, the other thing is the tariffs that are all paused for 90 days that will most likely get resolved, by this summer. Whether it's deals done, not done, either way, we will know. The market will have kind of settled on what's going to happen and priced it in. So good to keep all that stuff in mind. You don't have to get it exactly right. Just know most likely many signs point to a bullish summer.
All right. Well, let's talk about Trump versus Powell. Trump wants to give him an elbow smash like Vince McMahon. Bitcoin in standstill as Trump increases pressure on Fed's Powell. Trump has reportedly been privately discussing firing Powell. I don't know about how private when he's literally posting Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. This is seen by millions of people. So, maybe he's been discussing privately as well as publicly, raising concerns about market stability and central bank independence. Markets dipped after the hawkish comments from Powell, who criticized Trump's tariff policy, saying it would likely result in a slowing economy and rising prices, what economists call stagflation. Now, Trump, who nominated the investment banker and lawyer during his first term, has expressed his displeasure since retaking the White House. Powell, though, is set to remain until May 2026. He's repeatedly stated his determination to finish his term and suggested Trump has no standing to fire him. Now, yesterday, Wall Street Journal reported Trump has been privately discussing Powell or firing Powell for months, according to people familiar with the matter. Now, odds of Trump removing Powell have risen to 19%. This is the highest reading since they began this bet. And Trump's comments come on the back of the ECB cutting rates for the 7th consecutive occasion as it warned of deteriorating growth outlook. So Trump wants Powell to cut rates. He's looking at Europe. They've cut rates 7 times in a row. And he's just wondering, why won't this guy listen to me? I think I want to fire him. They think he's even going to try to fire him, or is this saber rattling kind of art of deal style?
It's definitely saber rattling. He can't. I mean, I think he knows he can't fire him. He doesn't have the legal authority. The president doesn't get to pick who's the. It's a separate
this like
thing.
The third term thing, just kind of shaking up the conversation.
Yeah, like you could say, we looked at a story a couple of weeks ago where it was like Trump is looking into if he has legal authority to fire Powell. He wasn't really. It was more about judges and senior officials. And the bottom line is he doesn't. It's a private bank. They can do whatever the heck they want. That and there's really not much.
Private bank is in charge of our money.
I have
Private
the
bankers?
how he can. So legally, Trump actually can fire Jerome Powell, but not in the way people may think. And this is why I don't think he will or can. But if you guys we were watching the Jerome Powell speech, I forgot what day that was, a few days back here, and Jerome Powell talked about the Supreme Court ruling that's going through right now. So this is what's happening.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying I don't expect him to fire Jerome Powell. I'm on everybody's side. Like, he is only serving till 2026. And I honestly still expect him to pivot here in June. Whether or not he's late or whoever believes in that, that's a different story. But Scott Bessent likes Jerome Powell, and that's the U.S. Treasurer. They have breakfast every single week. He's advised against Trump's administration actually removing him. So maybe it's a political tactic here. But this is the truth. This is the facts. President Trump cannot directly fire Federal Reserve Chair Powell without cause. So he has to have cause. The cause would mean misconduct or incapacity. Now, in my perspective, and I'm sure a lot of you in this chat, he hasn't done anything that would be considered misconduct or incapacity, not policy disagreements. So Trump can't fire Jerome Powell because he doesn't like that he's holding interest rates too long. He'd actually have to do something that involves misconduct or incapacity.
Yeah, like steal money or something. Yeah,
exactly. Or like politically, purposely like hike interest rates to crash the market.
It'd have to be like he's taking money from China, or something pretty egregious. It can't be like to your point, a ticky tack or a disagreement on approach or strategy. Like, definitely not that.
It'd have to be like yeah, noticeably he's like, I'm going to ruin the stock market somehow or unemployment. Like it, yeah, exactly. It has to be deliberate.
If he comes
Trump
out and tells everybody like, "Hey, you should buy Tesla," like that,
Yeah.
he can't do
No.
that.
That'd be crazy. Although knowing with our administration and politicians, what are they going to do? Sue him for inside trading? Like they're all going to, none of them are going to Discovery. I'll tell you that much. But Trump has expressed frustration with them. So here's what's happening. The Supreme Court is currently considering cases that could redefine the presidential authority. And this is what Jerome Powell was speaking about last week, which might impact the legal framework governing the Federal Reserve. Nonetheless, any attempt by Trump to remove Powell without established cause would likely lead to a significant legal battle and could undermine the perceived independence of the Federal Reserve, potentially destabilizing the financial markets. So, yeah, none of us expected it, guys. But, we also didn't expect, 245% tariffs on China. So I would say this is very, 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 very unlikely.
Yeah, and probably not even a great strat. I do think it's mostly political. I do think it would be very destabilizing. Things would get much worse if he came out to try to fire Powell. Now, that being said, I'm really happy this is part of the discussion that, like the president of the United States is trying to fight with the Fed, because we know what happens most of the time when presidents do that. That's probably what happened. They probably knew he was on this frame of mind and the Fed, before he got elected, which is probably why, what happened in Pennsylvania happened. That if you look throughout history, at every single time anybody who has issues with central bankers, they get attempts on their life. Yeah. So
what's interesting is people saying that this would crash the markets if he did fire him. I don't necessarily agree with that. I want to know why your thoughts would be, because my first thoughts would be that if he's firing Jerome Powell because he's not cutting interest rates, he's going to put someone in immediately who slashes those interest rates.
In a perfect world, if he said, "You're fired and my guy's in 5 minutes," sure. But that's not how it would work. It'd be, "You're fired," and then it'd be protracted legal battles. And then that would not give us the clarity that the markets need. Like, are we going to get interest rate cuts or are we not? Is this going to make things worse? Now, if it was the case where it was a revolving door and his guy's in there like a Mr. Potato Head and he's like, "All right, we're cutting rates," that would be one thing. I don't see that transition being smooth whatsoever. Yeah, that's kind of my point. It'd be tons of market uncertainty. Almost think about like SEC and XRP case. You remember how long that went on and how much that impacted XRP for such a long time. But even if he did try to fire him, I believe he would just, there would be two co-chairs. Like he definitely can't fire him from the company. And so there's actually other members of the board that would step in and yada, yada, yada. To DZ's point, this would not be like, "You're out today and somebody else is in tomorrow and we're getting what I want and we're cutting rates." He definitely can't do that. So, and it would create chaos in the market. And
because I don't know the legal frameworks around this, and I think it's a lot of speculation, but it looks like here an acting chair would be immediately reassigned. The vice chair of the Federal Reserve Board would typically assume the role of the acting chair. So whoever the vice chair, that's in the event of Powell's removal, like assuming it's a clean removal. My point would be it wouldn't be a clean removal and it wouldn't be a resignation. Yeah, he'll try to fire him and Powell will say, "You don't have the authority." No, I'm still showing up to my office today. Yeah, it would get ugly. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Then they'd kick him to El Salvador, like a terrorist. All right. Now for the serious questions from Steve-O with the super chat. If Josh is the brains and DZ is the beauty of the channel, what does that make TJ? What do you guys think? The heart. Aw, thanks. Yeah. You're like the Indian kid in Captain Planet. Oh man, yeah. All right, well, I'll be the short guy. How about that? Since you guys I do have. We like the heart. The foundation. Yeah, there you go. I will say I got an issue with Powell's speech on the 16th. There's one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. So Trump can fire him for cause or malfeasance. It's kind of like the legal definitions. Here's something that some might say is malfeasance. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can make that argument. Powell's a quote: "Federal debt is not at an unsustainable level." And so that to me suggests that's maybe he's not, that some could make the argument. It's like he doesn't even have America's best interests for him to say, "Oh," but also on the other hand, you could say, well, he can't say it's at an unsustainable level because the markets would hate it. But when you look at the debt, in my opinion, our debt is at an unsustainable level. It's an extinction level event for America that people don't talk about enough. Someone said that he said that it was unsustainable. That was he said it's not on an unsustainable path.
That's what he's saying. It's on an unsustainable path, but not at an unsustainable level. Tell me how that makes sense either.
Well, he's basically saying we're okay right now. We're getting it under control, which is what I mean, I think to your point, that's kind of what he's supposed to say. Like, we're going to be everything's
he can't
okay.
Say, we printed too much.
Yeah, he can't be like, I don't know, it's all out of control. Hope for the best.
I wish he could.
What they adjusted off of is based off GDP. It's like the United States is still the strongest economy, so we could still handle the debt if we were to, create the needed measures. Which it's so funny that this answer is so freaking easy. Like any smart economist, and this isn't coming from me. This is coming from like everybody from Warren Buffett to Ray Dalio to the U.S. Treasury. It's like, just slap a fucking 3% deficit on Congress. Stop allowing politicians to spend our money recklessly. Like, it is funny how that is like such an easy answer to the deficit issue, but it just won't happen. There's no bipartisan approach to putting a 3% label on that, because none of the politicians in Congress trust each other. They know they're like, it's just going to be stalemate after stalemate after stalemate. It is so funny how that's the case. But yeah, no, it's in the meeting, because we were watching it live. It was 100%. It's on an unsustainable path. So it's kind of that. This is where some people are mad with like the deficit to clean up the efficiency issues. It's like, if our generation doesn't fix this, our grandkids are going to have to fix it, and it's just going to be that much worse. And that's kind of what was expressed within the speech there. But it was but I don't know if you guys watched the full thing. Whoever that interviewer was, and chat might agree with, it was probably one of the best interviews. It started off so boring, but then like really, it was a really meaty interview. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the one we watched the last month, they're like asking him asinine questions and stuff.
Yeah, it's
like tie. Why do you pick the purple tie? We don't care. We get it. It's blue and red. It's non-political. We get it.
We notice your hair faces the left today. Does that mean we are, adjusted for a high? Yeah, it's crazy with some of those questions.
So you got the double wins or not versus, it was ridiculous.
And then the same reporters would ask the question like 9 times. You're just like, dude, move on.
Now, altcoin Gordon has ironically a straight awesome Bitcoin chart here. This is Bitcoin's MACD. This is moving average has now flipped bullish. Those who know what happens next, and you can zoom in here. Last time the MACD flipped bullish, it was kind of a little bit of a lagging indicator. It was following the bottom right there. We could be potentially following a bottom, and if you look, kind of like a lower low, and then a sustained path to the upside. Lower low. Will we have the sustained path to the upside? The MACD is suggesting we are, so things are still looking pretty good for Bitcoin. I kind of want to check in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, started rising like it typically does around 10:30 a.m., but then has now fallen back a little bit.
Jumped off a cliff.
The bulls and the bears are still battling as we speak. But Bitwise, it is not making him bearish. He says he thinks the number of companies buying Bitcoin is going to triple this year, and he's saying the game theory is already on. Would you guys consider the game theory on? Or are we still waiting for a Microsoft, an Apple, a Google?
No, I'd say the game theory is absolutely on. It's happening on small. I mean, with MicroStrategy, they're starting to see people implement a strategy like that with Solana. Rumble, GameStop. Like, it's happening on smaller stocks, and the fact that MicroStrategy's had so much success storming up the ranks with this strategy means 1000% it's being talked about in boardrooms. Where I was yesterday, as you guys know, I go to a C12, which is like a Christian leadership business leadership program, and with CEOs of businesses much bigger than what we run here. So it's really cool that those guys, like the guy that was presenting yesterday, I think his business does almost 600 million a year in revenue every single year. And so these guys, a lot of those guys are starting to ask me questions about some Bitcoin and they're looking at raw materials, they're dealing with commodities, they're dealing with treasury strategies and all that stuff too. And I'm starting to hear a lot of them. Now, I've been in this group for several years. This was not on their radar at this level nearly this way 3 or 4 years ago. But I had probably 3 or 4 people yesterday be like, all right, yeah, I think I need to sit down and have a meeting and understand this strategy and understand why people are holding it on their balance sheet and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely, the game theory is definitely on in corporate America, and it's ramping up. I'd say it's on the nation state level. I mean, obviously we've been talking about it here for a long time. We've got other nations doing it. So it's not only on the corporate level, but it's on the nation level, and it's a lot more fierce competition than I think most people at home realize.
Yeah, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that the nation state game theory has kicked in. We covered a lot of it yesterday, looking at hash rate. It's all circumstantial, but there was a glove, there was blood in the Bronco. I mean, things kind of, were lining up there. Speaking of, go ahead.
No, the other thing I wanted to say on that is kind of a sneaky indicator that it's going so much more, like there's so much more dramatic competition to get their hands on Bitcoin than you would think, is the fact that the media isn't really talking about it. There's not a ton of favorable coverage, and that's because the billionaires that own the media don't want a bunch of attention on this stuff. They want to be able to position themselves. They want their company to get Bitcoin. They want their hedge fund to get it. They want their BlackRock's trying to scoop it up, and all of these same people have ownerships in Netflix. They have ownerships in CBS and NBC and ABC and Disney, which basically own all of what is media and TV and CNN and the news and all that stuff. Yeah, don't mess with the mouse, man. The mouse will get you. I don't know if you guys have seen those episodes, but don't mess with Mickey, man.
South Park, man, they get it right a lot of times. Some are saying game theory, it ain't on at 85K. Well, this graphic says otherwise, JH.
Yeah, and that just shows you don't. The price is at 85 because it's on. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And you can see they don't accumulate. So 2020 got as low as 3K. They're not wanting to accumulate when it's at this level. They want to wait till it's $1 trillion asset. They don't want to buy in at a $100 billion asset, a $400 billion asset, but a $2 trillion asset. That's a lot more lucrative, even though the price is higher and the upside is now largely eliminated. But they do not care about that. So tripling that'd be 270 companies holding Bitcoin. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, we're rooting for it. Now, I have just a good, question here. Buying Bitcoin versus gold, not what is better, what is easier for investors to purchase? So gold advocates, they're confident. No, gold is much easier to buy than Bitcoin, given the complexity of storing private keys and a steep learning curve for new crypto investors. But the Bitcoin bros say, nay, buying Bitcoin is significantly easier and faster than buying physical gold. He said Bitcoin's instant and 24/7 availability, no need for vaults, while gold has additional costs like transportation, storage, verification, and resale. So not which is better. What would you say is easier to buy? Chat, let us know. Type in BTC, type in gold, or you want to go Elemental AU. I would make the argument that gold is easier still. And they have a terrible graphic we're going to look at.
I will immediately debunk that. How do you buy gold, DZ?
Go to the pawn shop.
All right, so you have to get in your car. You have to drive. How far is the pawn shop from you?
All right. Go to a boomer, or I don't want to say boomer. Go to the random person at the DMV and say, open a Coinbase account. They're going to say, oh, it's a lot easier to drive to the pawn shop. Do
you have PayPal? Do you have Venmo? Do you have Cash App?
Yeah,
almost. You could say. I would say. But then it's not custodied. I mean, now you're kind of, Then if you're looking at it that way, you could do the same thing with gold, right? Since you're not buying physical Bitcoin, or you go to PayPal. You
got to open a Charles Schwab account. You got what do you buying your gold on?
It's as easy as PayPal is what I'm saying to you. You can I could trade Australian foreign exchange.
I guess you buy it on Robinhood.
Yeah, JPM or what is it? The bullion thing is where Drew buys his.
You know what? I'm gonna invent it right now on Apple Pay. I'm gonna every time I open my phone, it buys $1 worth of Bitcoin, dude.
There you go. It's interesting. I think it's a little bit of both. The easiest way I know of to buy Bitcoin to buy gold that people like to talk about is Costco. You can actually buy physical gold through Costco, and they'll deliver it to your house. You can apparently you can even use the Costco credit card and get rewards for buying it. So that is an actual pretty easy hack. I saw somebody the other day that says that's all we need for Bitcoin to go. They just need to basically create the same service for Bitcoin where, hey, you can buy it through us and we'll send it right to you. But I think what you're talking about there, DZ, I mean, you can make an argument for both directions, but really what you're talking about is a technology learning curve. So people that know technology would say Bitcoin's easier to buy, like Josh, to him, going on his phone and making a purchase is easier than driving somewhere and dealing with a physical person and having to pay with cash and then they give you this thing. Like, that's, to a younger person, that seems complicated. To an older person, it's like, yeah, that's normal, that's how we've always done it. So like downloading this app and answering 30 questions about giving them my passport and my ID and all that stuff is scary. But The bottom line is neither one is that hard to purchase these days, I would say. But if I had to like make it, which one's easier for me? Bitcoin, obviously, because I've got that set up. I've never done a ton of gold buying other than kind of like you mentioned, a coin shop in downtown Marietta or Costco. Those are the main two.
Well,
places.
here's I hate these graphics. What is the one? It's I think it's like a Lamborghini versus or a turtle or something, where it's like, well, one's a turtle and one's not. All right, well, here's physical gold versus physical Bitcoin. Can be bought and sold in seconds. I'll give it to Bitcoin. Available 24/7. I think you can make an argument. You can buy gold off Amazon and it could be at your house tomorrow. So I mean, that's arguable there. Requires transportation. Bitcoin, you got it. Wildly offered for purchase at premium prices, so higher than market price. Bitcoin is definitely offered at premium prices, so that's I would say this one's not actually accurate. Accepted for sale at a discount. I'll accept your Bitcoin on sale. So again, not entirely accurate. Does require a vault. All right, I'll give it to Bitcoin there. Requires checking authenticity and quality. That is not accurate either. You could definitely get scammed buying fake Bitcoin off a website. I think that's a lot easier than painting tungsten, right? So again, this may be misleading here.
I would argue there's more fake gold stuff. They're both out. There's plenty of fakes for both, but I think more people get duped buying what they think is legit gold, and it's actually only 10%.
We have people come to this building. Did I not buy Bitcoin? And they show you your phone, and you're like, nope, you didn't buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying it exists for both. They thought they were in cloud mining or whatever, but I think there's just a lot since gold's been around a lot longer. There's a lot of fake gold scams. I'm just I've seen that a ton.
Sure. But same for Bitcoin. But either way, sure, there's fake gold, but they're saying there's not fake Bitcoin. Not accurate. Requires knowledge of cryptocurrency storage options and risks. Gold doesn't. It's not applicable. I mean, this is just a little ridiculous here. Not entirely. I don't know. I think you can make an argument for both. I think chat's kind of split here. A gold, So I don't know. I just thought that was.
But yeah, let us know in the chat which one. If say one if it's Bitcoin, two if it's gold. Which one's easier to buy? What does chat think? One for Bitcoin, two for gold. Let us know.
I don't know. Can you guys name an app you could buy other than like Robinhood? My point is like, dude, it's on Venmo, it's on Cash App, it's on.
Buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, but
you can't buy Bitcoin on Amazon.
Yeah, but that you're not buying stock, you're buying physical, so that's still shipping. I just meant like if I want it instantly,
I gotta wait 10 minutes for Bitcoin. So I mean, you can make. It's faster, but
through Cash App, it's Lightning Network.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that block to finalize.
No, but it's Lightning. That's quick.
I think and it's cheaper, it's faster, it's more efficient.
All the Lightning transactions.
And then if I want to secure it, because like how many people live in also that are buying gold in Costco have a secure location they can even store their gold, right? Do they have a security? Do they have a safe? Do they have that type of stuff at their house? Do they live in a sketchy neighborhood? Do they want physical gold in their house?
How many people get their crypto hacked because they thought their phone was safe? Just like you might think your gun safe is safe.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not the issue. It still takes a level of, I mean, at how much physical gold do you need to go get a security deposit box, right? Like that's a different secured question. I'm just talking in like the immediate for the people that have a few $100, few $1,000. I don't know. I think Bitcoin just way easier. And also you're not buying physical if you're only buying a few $100 or a few $1,000 worth. You're
Bottom line is,
buying paper.
I'll say this: neither one's that hard, and they're both getting easier and easier, whether it's technology or physical. So, look, if you need, go buy some of both. Go buy some Bitcoin. Go buy some gold.
Let's do it right now. Here we go. We're gonna time it. Yeah, I buy some Bitcoin. You go buy some gold, DZ. We're gonna do this right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if I had Amazon, actually, you're gonna beat me just because I type like this.
Excuses? Are we already making excuses?
I got boomerized, so you're gonna win regardless. All right, now let's let's switch gears. I know people are like argue about this after the stream. I think it's an important question, but let's talk about ETH here. One of the biggest ETH whales in the world is a founder for another chain. It's Justin Sun.
This is a good
Justin Sun just kind of reiterating, doubling down. I got no intention of selling ETH despite the 52% year-to-date slump. And he says Tron will continue collaboration with Ethereum. So I just want to share his post here. It kind of had some good stuff that I end up clicking. Oh, we got something good coming up. We're going to talk about Charles Hoskinson getting stung by ants right after this, but I don't know where it went. It disappeared. Yeah, but Justin Sun, he is bullish on ETH, but are you guys still bullish on ETH? I always said Justin Sun is one of the best traders he may have lost his magic touch when it came to Ethereum. He knew how to trade it in 2017. He knew how to trade it in 2021. He might not know how to trade it in 2025. And there's the post right there. I don't know why it's not letting me click on it. There it goes. ETH currently at a low price, but we have no intention of selling our holdings. Tron will continue to seek opportunities to collaborate with more ETH developers and build our industry together. Would you rather hold Tron or ETH at this point? I think is a good question.
That's
ETH.
a crazy. It's sad that we're at that point today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an American viewpoint. I don't think that's an Asian viewpoint.
I won't lie. I mean, dude, Tron's been around since 2018. It's near its all-time highs. Like, if we're talking like what's a better hold, I mean, the data would suggest Tron is a much is a better store of value. And I'm like, do you want to talk about like what's a bigger scam? Like, again, if we're just looking at charts and TA here, you know, you're looking at. Well, some people don't trust Justin Sun with like a 10-foot pole. That's a different conversation.
You'd have to compare both of them to BTC, not just, you know, because what if Ethereum pumped more? And it did. Ethereum had a much bigger run up than Tron had back in 2020 and 2018. So, yeah, so maybe Tron's at an all-time high, but that's just because it hasn't pumped as high in the past.
Yeah, good point.
So you'd have to
It's
look
a
at
good point.
You'd have to look
it
at
would
both,
be worth more than your ETH holdings today.
Well, again, you'd have to compare it against Bitcoin, because I don't know if that's necessarily. You'd have to look at Tron BTC versus ETH BTC, and look at those and kind of overlay them. And
I'm pulling it up right now for you.
But for me, the one that's while you're doing that, the one that clearly wins is
Tron.
Well, see, I'd say Ethereum because all stable coins that are being issued, like Tether doesn't exist without Ethereum, USDC doesn't exist without Ethereum, all DeFi. All stable coins and DeFi, which you could argue are the most used applications in crypto in general. Like if you're going outside of Bitcoin has clear product market fit as a store of value. It's clearly doing what it's supposed to do. It can settle trade. It can have no third-party intermediary, and it is a medium exchange, a store of value, and it has a lot of great properties. So that is in its own category. But if you go outside of Bitcoin, the most useful thing that blockchain has done so far is DeFi and stablecoins. Like far and away, the number one used thing in crypto is stablecoins, Tether and USDC. Those have to go through Ethereum right now, whether it's a layer 2, whether talking about things like Aave and Curve. Like Curve is the main issuer of it. Chainlink, for example, you know, and all their regulations and everything with that all goes through Ethereum. And so for that reason, I think Ethereum is winning. You know, price alone, we can look at the charts there. You can look at that, Josh. But I think if I had to choose today, Tron or Ethereum, I'm choosing Ethereum for that reason.
And I would choose Ethereum too, to be clear with everybody watching. I'm much more into Ethereum, and it's because of my perspectives on Justin Sun here. But there's a good principle by Ray Dalio here that's in the book Principles, sitting on the other side of that room there, which is don't get hung up on the views of how things should be, because you will miss out on learning how they really are. And
I like that.
It's a very interesting perspective, because if I'm looking at TA here again, you have to ask yourself, right? If Ethereum goes back to 4K, that's great. I think that can happen. But what would that mean for Tron? Is Tron going to also do a 4X? You know, is it going to do a 5X? It's only a $20 billion market cap. Now, there's a conversation of going into like Just Lend and all the protocol and the initiatives. But it's been around since 2018. It's not as old of Ethereum, but it's kind of alongside that. Again, if Tron goes down, you have to realize Justin Sun's one of the largest whales. He's probably selling off his ETH, really hurting the price action of Ethereum as well. So Ethereum is going to crash if Tron crash. So I think it's just a very interesting perspective to have now on Tron, especially when you go to Dubai. Like I'll be in Dubai again here next week, and I'll prove to you, no one uses Ethereum in Dubai. They all use Tron. Then it's a little bit of BNB, and then it's Ethereum. But every single shop in Dubai, if you go there, it's Tron all the way. And so it's a much smaller network for sure, but they have a lot of lending protocols. Justin Sun seems to be someone that's been now helping Ethereum. Again, he's one of the largest whales here. It's just an interesting perspective. It's like, look at this chart here, right? Tron against Bitcoin. You know, it's more kind of stable here, I would say, in terms of that sideways action. But you type in ETH BTC. I know you guys have seen this chart on Benjamin Cowan's account. You know, there's not even if you were to say like which one's going to hold better against Bitcoin or be better for that portfolio, the data would suggest that even though we believe in Ethereum, even though that we've been in Ethereum, some of it, like I'm sure TJ, you've been in Ethereum for a decade now, which is fucking crazy to think about. You know, I was getting out of high school when you're getting into Ethereum. It's, you know, that's crazy. Is it's just a different. It's like, okay, have things grown away from this, and so now it's like, look, again, I think Ethereum will go back to 4K. I think we'll get that. You're gonna get that upside. But if Tron's already performed better, is that 20? Can Tron hit $1 now? Maybe that's the question we should be asking.
You want to see the Tron ETH chart?
Yeah, that's what I was just pulling up. Yeah, did you get it?
Pull that
Yeah,
up.
this is well, okay. So you have ETH. Well, that's ETH price in Bitcoin. This is Tron priced in Ethereum. So it's just been pumping and pumping and pumping.
Yeah, but that's what time
Does that
frame?
mean it's peaking?
This is start of 2024 right here. Start of 2025 right here.
Yeah, I've got a similar one. It's not quite that dramatic. Tron.
Oh, because you got that little blip right there is screwing you up. You got to take it off. Yeah, you got to change it.
Well, I mean, basically what I was looking at is since 21, 20, because there's the dates down here, 22, 23, 24, it's pretty much even until this year, which is when Ethereum really went down. So it's not as much Tron having major pumps. It's Ethereum's just down bad right now, and that's where you get this run up. So you could, I have a feeling this is going to change. You'll see this fall back down into this level here. And maybe even go to low. It's a pretty interesting chart because it's like Ethereum was winning because Tron was falling against it. Then it was pretty much even for most of this bear market here, 22, 23, like not a whole lot of action, even all the way through 2024 until August 24. Well, you could even argue right here, November 24, when everything started to pump and Ethereum has been underperforming, is when you get this big move up. Oh, I'm not even on the screen.
I wonder if we got a little cup and handle that could potentially form. Share my screen here. If we look at the Tron ETH chart, I mean, I see a little bit of a little cup and handle. So that would go with what you're saying, maybe head back down before trying to put on that next little move.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a big believer that Ethereum's getting massively accumulated by whales right now, BlackRock. And like I said, all these people are positioning because they know the stablecoin game is going to be a major, like that is far and away the most successful companies are stablecoin issuers right now. And you look at Tether, you look at Circle, maybe outside of like exchanges like Binance, Kraken, and Coinbase, those you could argue are the most successful companies in crypto. And all of that goes through Ethereum. So I think it's in an accumulation range. It's being suppressed, and we could see it really do well here very soon.
Explosive moves.
I wonder.
All right, let's look at.
I was just gonna say, for people that don't realize, like Justin Sun, like what he had, like this guy, he is the he
had a banana.
I don't think he did have a banana. He's a multi-billionaire, obviously, but he's not just the founder of Tron. Like I want people also realize, like he's also the owner of HTX, which is formerly Huobi. So that's the largest Chinese exchange out there. You guys got to remember that's still a massive ecosystem. He's the owner of Rainberry here, which is formerly known as, if you guys know this, BitTorrent. BitTorrent's protocol is under Justin Sun as well here. So they purchased that as well. So they've made some really big purchases. There's one I'm trying to find here, though. Maybe you guys know this off the top of your head. He just bought something this was in December. He bought a Bitcoin. I forgot what it was. What was the Bitcoin application that he bought as well? Maybe that is also.
Well, he bought in a World Liberty Fi. So I mean, you say he
bought in the World Liberty Fi
inner circle.
There's another one I'll find in a second, but what I want to point out is like the SEC has dropped all their fraudulent cases against him. Like this is, I don't know. It's so interesting. We need to interview Justin Sun. That's what needs to happen here. And maybe I'll see him in Dubai again. I saw him in Dubai last time. I went to the Justin Sun event, his after party event. He spoke for like 5 minutes and dipped, but this would definitely be a good interview to, because what I want to ask him is like, how is Tron, even though the market cap difference is substantial, right? Ethereum is a much larger ecosystem. I would ask CZ the same question. How are their ecosystems more sustainable? Is it a tokenomic factor? Is it a DeFi factor? Is it a borrowing lending factor? Like, why is it that while most of your risk on assets have struggled in this high interest rate environment, is it because Ethereum's more maybe intertwined with U.S. markets, and that means Chinese and Asian markets have maybe a better understanding of these frameworks? Because if that's the case, like this is a huge conversation with Richard Tang he's the CEO of Binance now, is like when we watch Bo Hines develop a digital asset framework, whether it's for stable coins or these ecosystems or products in the future, it's we should probably be catering those frameworks towards what Singapore and Dubai has done if those ecosystems are in fact that much more sustainable. Now, it's stay way fucking far away from South Korea. That's where Justin Sun was. Not Justin Sun. Just already broke there. That was Lunaterra, right? That's gonna be what's his name?
Terra Do Kwon. Yeah.
Do Kwon, thank you. And that was Mantra DAO. It's like the Mantra just ended up, plumbing there, which they're trying to do a comeback right now. But interesting. I just wanted to ask those questions. I don't have the answers to those. I just think it's a good question we should be.
This is his most infamous moment. Before we move on here, it was this moment right here.
Banana.
Oh, wrong thing. Boom.
Jerome Powell.
Yeah, the $6 million banana.
Yeah. Well, and he's done. Yeah, he's had several infamous moments back in the day. The Warren Buffett, he bought a lunch with Warren Buffett way back in the day, and then they didn't end up doing it. And
Blue Origin space flight bought it, didn't do it.
Yeah, he's done a lot of interesting stuff. Steve-O asked, didn't he do some sketchy stuff back in 2020, 21? Absolutely.
Name one CEO that hasn't.
And he actually did a lot of his beforehand. But
Vitalik's hanging around with communists in China.
Sure, but I'm talking like he's definitely done some on-chain sketchiness for sure when it comes to like he's got a stable coin, and a lot of his DeFi, a lot of the DeFi things that they have are all sun backed more or less.
CZ went to jail, right?
Yeah.
That's my question. It's an interesting question. It's like, what are they doing? I want to know why. That's what I want to. I want to know the why, and then from there we can grow off of it.
Real quick,
it just doesn't make sense to me that Ethereum's like struggled so hard.
There were a couple of big things to come back to the Jerome Powell thing just for a second. He's saying the U.S. economy is in a good place, and then this just came in. He's apparently said there's room to cut rates, which is super bullish. So, we still think I still think it's going to happen in May or June, probably June, but even just alluding to it is fairly bullish. But
did that
what's
just
next?
come out? That's crazy.
Now it's time to talk about Cardano, but not the token ADA. We got to talk about the founder, Charles Hoskinson. He said, "May I present Toucan Diera?" That is the famous ants that sting the heck out of you. Is supposed to be one of the most painful stings in the world, and he just volunteered to do that. There he is playing like Vietnam music. I think the CCR. We don't want to get hit with the demonetization, but clicking on his account there, he's posting a lot about it. Some people, they're having a little bit of fun. He said it was rough, time for a nap there. This is the process, weaving the ants. There's his hands. You literally weave these insane ants with like the world's most stinging bite or stinging like in the world. You weave them into the glove so they're stuck there, and then you wear the glove for like 10-15 minutes, and meanwhile it's just stinging you and stinging you and stinging you, biting you the whole time. Looking into it, looks like you do it as cheap as $300, Disco Fam, if you want to do it yourself there. Obviously the community is having a reaction to it. Now looking at this post, let's see, so he this is the one that kind of went viral 13 hours ago. We go back 13 hours ago, literally 13 hours ago. It was the bottom. Cardano started to pump afterwards. So maybe founders need to go to the Amazon a little bit more often and subject themselves to excruciating amounts of agony.
Do they like
a Cardano holder?
Do you like trip from getting bitten so much?
What do you mean?
Like, do you trip? Like, are you tripping from it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's probably like a runner's high. I wouldn't say it's the same as eating acid. I don't think there's ayahuasca involved or anything like that.
Here's the main image that I feel
that's
like
the photo I was sharing. Yeah. That is wolf mode right there.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on his face a little?
No, it's not. Let me zoom.
Karate Combat, fucking 2026.
Yeah. I mean,
wait, are they hitting each other with the woven ants?
No, that guy's. It's a little elusive, but you can look at the picture there. You can kind of tell this guy's behind him in the foreground.
It's Dana White's new slap company.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, that guy's. He's definitely locked in there. So I don't know. You think this is what he was talking about going to do? You think he's coming back? You think he's done?
This proves one thing. It proves that even Charles Hoskinson is bored of the market right now and wants to feel something.
Yeah, he's trying to go. Just make me feel anything. Yeah, I love it.
Seeing if we could zoom in. Might be stuck here, but yeah, that's wolf mode, 100%.
Look, people are gonna hate. I think that's a crazy cool experience. That
looks like Omar.
I want to do it. I want to do it. I'm also not the person that wants to go do ayahuasca though in those forests and throw up for 3 days straight. So that's just. But to each their own.
Hey, the community seemed to like it. Cardano was up on the news there, so we'll take it as a little bit of a win. Now, other altcoin news, or some I want to share from you. This is from Tokenomics. They used to be called Token Unlocks. Some crypto teams hold allocations that are 2-3x their VC raises. And so what does this say about the long-term incentives and the risks ahead? And I'm not saying the VCs are going to dump on you. I would say that the higher the dollar amount, probably the less likely they're just going to start dumping the tokens. The smaller the dollar amount, maybe they're a little bit less liquid than some of the larger whales there. So maybe something to keep an eye out on. But Morpho team, their raise was 70 million. They're sitting on 170 million. Here you see Eigenlayer also, it's about a 2x. It was 160 million. They're sitting on 340 million. And so something to pay attention to is profit taken by these whales. It looks like, they got the vesting, lots of unlocks in 2025 for a lot of these tokens. And so you need to be aware of this. But Josh always brings it up. We've done the research. Oftentimes the bottom won't be June 2025 for ZK Sync. It could be May as the market front runs the dump, and then market makers kitch in. No one can buy the token that low again, and you see it go up and up and up. So just something I want to put on your radar. Token unlocks, there's plenty of them. There's going to be more of them. This is just going to be a part of crypto.
I agree.
Let's see. People are having fun with the Charles Hoskinson photos there. Yeah. Not how much would you do for one Bitcoin? I think I would get stunk by those ants for a Bitcoin. I would pay someone 300.
I do
Bitcoin.
Yeah, I do a lot for one Bitcoin.
How about this? 1 ETH, but you can't sell for a year. I mean, it might even be lower.
I think holding ETH might be more painful than getting stung by those ants.
Gotta at least cover the cost of the trip. The plane ticket down there alone's more.
All
than
right,
the
all
cost
expense paid trip. Josh, would you do it for?
Sign me up.
1,000 in Ondo.
Look, 1,000 in Ondo.
I don't know if I'm getting stung for $1,000. 5,000?
If
10,000,
Chucky Ho could handle the stings, I think I can handle the stings. Let's.
I don't know. He's pretty zen. I mean, he's done a lot of.
He's pretty zen.
Have you seen that other the other image I love of him is the sitting in the ice storm in the black Jedi outfit or whatever. Look,
until he gets to the level of going to the monks and getting kicked. Is that the next step? Is he's getting kicked in the nuts from the monks?
I don't know.
Josh, what is your dollar amount? I wouldn't do it for 1,000. I would do it for 10. I'm probably somewhere in the middle.
Dude, all expenses paid to an Amazon trip to go experience something that probably nobody in your life you'll ever meet has done as well. I'll do it. Let's just go.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I like it.
Charles no stranger to extreme events.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't mess around. He pushes himself.
My God. What is this one?
That's just him doing a ice
is this
bath.
Winhop?
Yeah.
Cold.
We gotta get Charles back on. It's been about a year or maybe a little more since we've had him on the show. I'd love to have him on because I want to know is he kind of made it seem like he was stepping away in some levels from developing or being involved with Cardano development. He's saying kind of it's in good hands now. I wonder if he's trying to move on with his life because that would be an interesting thing that I'd like to talk with him about. He might be back, but I mean, he said he was going wolf mode not long before that. So I think
another fun fact, he's a falconer.
That's right.
Yeah, he's kind of just a badass ranger,
man,
dude.
Isn't he?
He's a rancher.
He's got an Apache helicopter. He's a man.
He resurrected the direwolf. He's a capital investor in that
company. Always forget. Isn't he only 38?
Yeah, he's 37. We were just looking at that.
So that's crazy, man.
He's trying to replace the Dos Equis guy for the most interesting man in the world. That's what he's going for.
All right. Well, let us know. Do you hold ADA? So ADA gang, ADA community. Type in ADA in the chat. We'll be checking that out because DZ loves his Cardano there. Let's see. I don't even know. I must have just clicked on that. Hey, one of the three is Charles Hoskinson. I think that was literally from clicking one of those. All right, let's talk about Layer 0 here. There's a token I'm down on, and I'm thinking about maybe lowering my average entry buy, even though it has pumped. Layer 0 jumped 10% as Andreessen Horowitz bought $55 million worth. And so they've acquired more tokens, and this investment includes a 3-year lockup period and follows previous funding rounds in 22 and 2023. A16Z, their early backer of Layer 0 Labs, participated in the 135 million Series A and the 120 million Series B back in those 2 years. And it ended up jumping 10% on the news, but it did shed some of the gains. If we look at it right now, hit refresh, it is up about 5.6%. Ooh, it's shed even more. Now it's down to 3.6%. Layer 0, if you don't know what Layer 0 is, It allows communication between isolated blockchains with cross-chain messages. It's a lot of the same stuff Polkadot's doing. They underpin 125 blockchains, and they have 145 million messages, 75 billion in value transfers, and they support PayPal stablecoin, Athena, and Pendle, and they're selected as a partner for Wyoming stablecoin project. It's not A16Z, that's pretty bullish, but these things is what has me bullish. It's the PayPal, it's the Athena, it's the Pendle, and it's the Wyoming stablecoin project. This is the stuff that has me bullish on Layer Zero. I bought a bag. I know I'm down on it. If we zoom out to a year, I'm pretty sure I might have to trade some of the dead tokens and just lower that average entry cost. I think we got in somewhere around here. I did not take the profits. Probably should have bought a lot more on the dip, but you know, I don't mind buying in on this dip tier. What's your updated thoughts on Layer Zero, TJ?
No, I think your head's in a perfect spot. I was actually thinking the same thing. The fact that, again, stable coins, as boring as they are, guys, studying stable coins and understanding what it takes to make them work is important, because stable coins aren't going anywhere. Like I said, it's probably the #1 use case for crypto outside of Bitcoin right now. And Layer Zero is kind of the underpinning of a lot of these different stable coins. I believe they also are doing things with Aave, which to me is another kind of app that has actual found product market fit within this space. So we're seeing more and more stable coins coming out, and kind of the way, you know, you need Chainlink to be in the middle of all this stuff. Layer Zero is trying to position themselves very similarly. Like, hey, if you want a seamless user experience when it comes to stable coins, Layer Zero is kind of doing the underpinning of a lot of that type of stuff. So yeah, I like Layer Zero. It's definitely in the right discussions. It's got a lot of the right key strategic partners, which partnerships are used loosely in this space. But you look at what Layer Zero is doing, and they are partnered with it. They're doing it much more like Chainlink, where they're partnerships, but they're real valuable strategic partnerships. Things like Athena, things like Pendle, very real useful things in DeFi. The Wyoming stablecoin project. If that starts to find success, you're going to see them be used with many other states doing stable coins. And if you want them to all interact seamlessly, you need the technology behind Layer. It's good tech too, which again, boring, but you know, having the right combination of tech, actual usefulness, some marketing, and really good partnerships, I think is they've got that. So yeah, I mean,
Why do you need this token? A lot of stablecoins specifically, they don't have the updated programmability that we're seeing with a lot of newer chains. So if you are a Wyoming stablecoin, you probably want plans to be able to spend, whether it's USDC, USDT, you're probably going to want different chains, and you're going to need some sort of backend infrastructure to kind of handle everything. Chainlink is a great example of backend infrastructure. I don't think Chainlink can do everything in crypto. So that's when you start looking at other basically intermediaries. And if you want to ask me the intricacies of cross-chain messaging, done a little bit of research, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with like, oh, this is exactly what it means.
Just think about it like this. Right now, there's, say, 5 major stable coins out there in the market. You know, arguably there's obviously way more, but you know, Tether, USDC, Athena, was it GHO is on Aave. You've got USD1 through World Liberty Bank. We're seeing more and more and more get issued. If you want to be a provider, if you want to take, it's like, yeah, I take stablecoin for payment, and you don't want the user to have to scroll through like, oh, is it USDC? Is it USDT? Is it Athena1? Is it USD1? You know, like they just want to pay in a stablecoin, and you as a vendor just want to accept it, and you want to be able to accept all 50. Like if every state had their own and you want to be able to accept them all, it takes technology like Layer Zero that works in the background to kind of seamlessly integrate and cross, you know, get across. Oh, this stable coin, do you want to bridge it off Aave, or do you want to use Tron? Do you want to use Ethereum? Are you on Base? Are you on this Layer 2? You're on that Layer 2. You're using Ink on Kraken. You know, like there's so much different chains and Layer 2s going on right now. You need a connecting layer, and that's what Layer Zero is doing. Kind of like what DZ. It's similar-ish to Chainlink with their messaging system, so everybody can get the information onto their chain. This is more just like settlement. So yeah, it's interesting.
I'm saying DeFi channel, 200% APR on Zero USDC on Uniswap.
On Uniswap, so. Yeah, there's a lot to be earned.
They said you were thinking about watching Fight Club over the weekend. Josh, is that true?
Can't talk about it. Can't
talk
talk
about it.
about
Rule
it,
one.
easy. I can't. You guys keep trying to get me to do it. I know what you guys are trying to do. I will never admit that I have watched it. You'll never know when or where or how.
Now we'll keep
But
peppering in references monthly, and we'll determine
we'll see
whether
if
or not you've watched it or not.
you know, you guys are
So.
terrible at these rules. Every single time there's one rule, and you guys are always talking about it, always chatting it up here.
Well, let us know.
No,
We
I
got a
was trying to
Robert
find
Paulson in the chat. Type
I
in
was
Robert
I was
Paulson.
just looking through Twitter, just trying to see if there's anything. It's actually a pretty quiet day here.
It's just extremely quiet. It was hard. It was hard to find news today.
Yeah, I was like, this is like the first quiet day I think we've had in a very, very long time. I mean, like I'm watching Chainlink repost videos they've already posted and everything. But so yeah, guys, I'm here. We're just trying to get the alpha for you guys.
I got a warning
What's
for
the
the disco fam out there. There's a new hack that has kind of been hitting the rounds, hitting a lot of these crypto people here.
TikTok.
Manta founder details an attempted Zoom hack by Lazarus, allegedly. That's North Korea. They used legit faces, and this is the specific. So he was targeted on Zoom. They said they used live recordings of familiar people in an attempt to have them download malware. I just got targeted here. We're going to go to his post. A known contact reached out to me, asked for a chat, scheduled Zoom. When I got in, asked for camera access, which is a little bit odd because they've used Zoom many times. Even crazier, the team members had their cameras on, and I could see their legit faces. Everything looked real, but I couldn't hear them. So they're sitting there like, it said my Zoom needed an update, but it asked him to download a script file. He immediately left, messaged the guy, and he deleted all the messages and then blocked him. And so be careful if you get some sort of weird Zoom thing and they're like, that is a hack. That is a hack. Be very, very careful.
Yeah, the other one I would say be careful of too, guys, because someone in the community just got scammed by doing this. Is they're messaging like, guys, I have one. It's Joshua Jake. If it's Joshua Jake 2607, it's not me. Okay, like look at those deliverables. I'm never gonna ask you about how your crypto investments going, anything like that. But these hackers are now using the AI voices to send like voice texts that sound like me. And soon it's gonna be deep fakes with.
Oh, that's the thing where they get your grandma.
They get your grandma,
your voice to say, "Grandma, I'm in jail."
Yeah, unfortunately, some of the community just got taken advantage of that way, and they were like, I reported you to the FBI. You're gonna get in trouble." They tried threatening me. I was like, "Bro, you fell for a scammer." Also look at my TikTok. I'm literally getting extorted right now through. So it's definitely not me. But yeah, it's very unfortunate to see it happening. It's not funny at all. Like these hackers are it's honestly. I also blame. Like TikTok, Twitter, they need better security. There's got to be better security measures than this. Like when you see fake accounts copy and pasting other accounts, like those should be automatically removed. And you should be able to have once you reach a certain amount of followers, you should be able to have a direct line and agent. It should be a legal obligation that these companies have to have. Is you have to have a direct line to an agent where you can communicate, hey, we have thousands of hackers or thousands of scammers pretending to be us. That needs to be solid on your platform rather than them using that just as bot farming so they get better advertisement costs. But just be safe out there, guys. We're trying to get through this right now with TikTok. We're working alongside them right now to get the TikTok back up and running. They're trying to extort us for like $5,000, but we all know how these losers
we don't
are.
Negotiate with terrorists.
Exactly.
Period.
It's literally what they are. They're scum of the earth, and I hope they all end up in an El Salvadorian prison.
I'm wondering if you're going to go there with it, and you did.
Yeah, I do.
Did he have tattoos on his hand?
I can't see his face. He's, these are the keyboard warriors. But either way, just be safe out there and just always do your due diligence. And
maybe he is a criminal, but he
check.
could be a loving father, Josh. And isn't that a green pass to commit crime?
No.
No, I
That's
don't.
what I've been told.
Yeah.
That's only Jeremy says that.
Some fathers don't deserve
kidding.
to
We
be in their
love
kids'
Jeremy.
lives, and this is one of those fathers.
All right, and on that note, folks, we're about to go do the member stream, and so we'll see the members. If you want to be a member on Discover Crypto, there's a join button down below. It looks a little bit weird, so click join. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking some trades, talking some stocks. Ask me all your questions. It's really an unadulterated AMA with DZ. So go ahead. I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes, everyone.
You.